When Donald Trump was sworn in for a second presidential term just over 100 days ago, he proclaimed a new golden age for the United States.
We will be the envy of every nation.
Today, the question of whether this golden age has arrived depends on whom you ask. But one thing is clear: Trump has profoundly shaken up American domestic and foreign policy. I want to bring in two great historians and authors for their viewpoints on the start of Trump 2.0. Jon Meacham won a Pulitzer Prize for biography, and most recently he has written introductions to new hardcover editions of the Federalist Papers and the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. Both come out later this year. And Niall Ferguson is a historian and senior fellow at Stanford University's Hoover Institution. Niall, fair to say that this is the most consequential 100 days since Franklin Roosevelt's?
I think that is fair, Fareed. It's hard to think of any 100-day opening in our lifetime that has been so impactful. One of the most striking things to me is that Donald Trump has executed almost on all the commitments he made on the campaign trail. And I counted 37 video commitments on his campaign website, which pretty much predicted what he would do, most of it in the form of executive orders or other executive actions. In terms of the sheer volume of activity, it certainly bears comparison with FDR's first 100 days. But the sign is reversed, because we've come out of a boom. Roosevelt came out of a depression, and Roosevelt had a mandate to expand the federal government, whereas Donald Trump campaigned on shrinking it. So in a way, it's like the New Deal, but with the sign reversed, or the direction of travel exactly the opposite.
John, that is, it seems to me, the striking feature, not just that Trump is sort of trying to tear down while FDR was trying to build up, but Trump is really, after 85, whatever it is, years, trying to deconstruct the edifice that Franklin Roosevelt built.
And I'd argue that it's beyond Franklin Roosevelt, that in fact what President Trump is doing is tearing down an order, both at home and abroad, that has its roots in 1933, but which ratified in 1953 when Dwight Eisenhower becomes president after a 20-year Republican drought, and yet refuses, in a classically conservative way, refuses to undo reality. He wants to manage the world as he finds it, as opposed to revolutionize it. And that creates a conversation, really, a kind of consensus about the role of the state in the marketplace, about America's role in the world, that really was the dominant conversation until 2017, until the first Trump term. A brief restoration of that conversation under President Biden, and now a re-interruption, I guess, if that's the right term. And I think that that's what we have to conjure with, and I think what Americans, through the economic prism, are conjuring with, is, do we really want to undo the entire New Deal, Fair Deal, Eisenhower, and indeed Reagan order?
Niall, you point out in a piece you wrote on Substack that while there is a lot of flurry, and some of these executive orders have big effects, on something like the core fiscal issues, there actually hasn't been very much done.
Well, the key problem that Donald Trump faces in his second term is that the debt is much larger than it was 8 years ago. It's over 100% of GDP. It's like the debt at the end of World War II, and interest payments are absorbing a rising share of government spending and of GDP. In fact, they exceed the defense budget at this point for the first time in a long, long time. The other problem, which is closely related, is that although Donald Trump is radical on certain issues, notably trade, he long ago committed to keep his hands off Social Security and Medicare. And as those are the two biggest line items in the federal budget, that means it's not really full repeal of the New Deal in the way that John has just said. It's a partial turning back of the clock. But the key issue, Fareed, and I think we need to focus on it, is the tariffs. The way that Trump most obviously wants to turn the clock back is to turn it back to the time of William McKinley, the one president he referred to most frequently in the campaign last year. McKinley was president in the late 1890s. Before he became president, he was associated with protectionist tariffs. Now, tariffs have been presented by the president as a number of different things. A source of revenue is one of them, but also as a way of reindustrializing America. The question is, how much damage did he inflict on the U.S. economy on Liberation Day, April 2nd, when he threatened to hit just about every trading partner the United States has with very high reciprocal tariffs? And I think that's going to determine whether the first 100 days turns into the overture to a golden age, or in fact the overture of the prelude to a recession.